Good afternoon, guys. We're going to do rebar for our concrete. Of course, concrete has to be reinforced. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to start with our slab and reinforce that first. Then we're going to go to our stem walls, our footings, our piers, and our isolated footings. There's quite a few things we have to add rebar to. But for the slab, there's several ways of doing it. I am going to select my slab first. Let's see, it's kind of hard to get. There we go. You just have to kind of be patient with it. And sometimes you can use the tab button to cycle through different selections until you get the right outline that you're looking for. And the outline I have right now is of my slab. So now I'm going to choose the area tool, and the note says rebar shape definitions will include hooks and will ignore end treatments. These options can be changed under reinforcement settings, which we'll worry about that later. Okay, click OK. And basically we're going to create a boundary following the inside of the stem wall and of course around all the piers. And this is done manually. There's not really let's see, we could pick lines. That's one way we can do it. But if I pick lines, it's going to it would end up having to go back and trim some lines. So either way is good. I just decided to do it like this on this go round. But if you pick lines, you'll end up having to trim because your lines will extend past the piers. And I was just going to go ahead and knock it all out at one time by doing this. So what I'll do is pause and then come back when I am done, and you come back when you're done as well. Okay, I'm back, and I have drawn all of my boundaries for my rebar, and I also drew around those isolated footings that were inside, the interior isolated footings, because those come all the way up to the surface of the poured concrete. So those won't be getting this installation of rebar, so to speak. But after lining everything out, you can just click on the green check mark, and now you have rebar throughout your entire slab. Okay, and there are some adjustments that we can make to this. We're going to go into 3D view, and we're going to go to wireframe. All right, that way we can see through the concrete slab to our rebar. Okay, the next thing we want to do with our rebar is we need to kind of edit it just a little bit. And to do that, of course, I'll explain to you as we go. I won't try to explain those to you now. But we want to make sure that we select the whole area, not the individual rebar. Okay, so mouse out here to the edge of that slab and select the entire area. Okay, and then you should get some layout information over here. And there's all kinds of things we can change. I think we're going to keep most of that. And let's see, we can change the, here we go. Top major bar is a number 4. Rebar, let's see. Let's stretch this out so we can read it. Okay, bar type, hook type, none. So let's put some hooks on that. And we're going to do a 180 degree, and to see what that looks like, let's kind of hone in here. So hook type 180 degree, and just give it a second and we'll watch that, what it does. Maybe we can just hit the apply button, make it go a little faster. As you see, it turned down the ends of that rebar, kind of gives it a better grip into the concrete itself. So major hook orientation, we can go up or down, but we want to leave it down. Top major spacing, let's see, we're going to leave that at 1 inch, and I think we're going to have to leave them both at that because we got kind of a thin layer of slab there. Okay, now the top minor bar type, which is going to be the bars running in the opposite direction. Okay, they're also number 4, and we can change those if we wanted to. You're not really going to see a difference in the image, but just depending on what is specified, you can change either one of those to the number that they should be. And then minor hook type, we're going to do the same thing. Or actually, we're just going to do a 90 degree. And we'll see what that looks like, and you see how it turns down those rebars. Then orientation down, top minor spacing 1 foot, bottom major direction. Okay, so this one, hook type, we're going to do the hook on this as well. We're going to go 90 degrees on the major hook type. Give that a second, see what it does, and you see there it turns it up. Now we have to make sure that's not sticking out of our slab. If it is, we'll have to do something different. And I think those bottom ones are sticking out of the slab. Let's get a good right side view. Zoom in. Yeah, see, yeah, they are sticking out of the slab, so we don't want that. So we're not going to curve those at all. Of course, we could do a 180, but it's really not necessary. And let's see, bottom minor direction is good, the size is good. Again, you can change those if need be. Okay, so looks like we've got everything. And I changed those rebar. I need to change the other ones back as well. I don't want those sticking out the bottom of the slab. Okay. But I do, let's see, top, I need the bottom major direction, or actually the bottom minor direction. I am going to do a 180 hook on those. And to make sure, let's go back into our 3D type view. Let's see what we got. Okay, I think that is all going to be good. Okay, yeah, I think that's all going to be good. All right, so that takes care of our rebar that is in the slab itself. The next thing we'll do is we'll do the rebar, and we'll start with the actual footing itself. Okay, and we're going to go to a level 1 view. Okay, the next thing we want to do is place some rebar in our stem walls that go all the way around our foundation. So to do that, you're going to create a section view and place it right here about where I have mine. You don't want to place it over the area where you have a column. It gets kind of confusing looking at it that way. But place it over between 2 columns and place the section view right across here. And just to remember how to do that, you just go into the view panel and click on the section view and then draw your section. Alright, and we're going to go into the section view, and we're going to place some rebar that's going to wrap around the entire stem walls. And let's see, structure and rebar. We're just going, okay, save the project, of course. And it gives us some rebar selections. We're going to use just the straight rebar up at the top. And we're going to place the rebar. And I actually just noticed I have some rebar sticking up out of the slab. And I think I know what that is, and we'll fix that here in just a moment. You'll probably have to fix yours too if you followed me and did exactly everything I did. But anyway, this rebar needs to be placed within 2 feet or 24 inches, 2 feet, same thing, of the top. So about right there will be good. And then from the bottom, same 24 inches, like so. Okay. All right, now escape out of that, and you want to select both of these channels of rebar. Select one of them and then right click and then select all instances visible in view, and that selects both of those. Now I'm going to go back to my level 1 up here. I have the tab open. Okay, and we're going to do an array so that we can place this rebar in the other three sides. So I am going to, here it is, array. Use the array tool. You're going to turn on the radial array, and group and associate is fine. Change the number to 4. Move to second. So basically, once we create this copy, and we're going to move it to the second location, and then it will copy to the other locations by itself. Angle is going to be 90 degrees, so basically every 90 degrees is how that is supposed to be placed. I'm going to click the center of rotation. I'm going to click the place button so I can place it. Make sure you zoom in and place it dead center of the slab. Okay, and then this is where you start at. This is where you placed the rebar the first time. So you bring the little guideline over here to the left, and you click, and you move it around to the second position, and you click. And then of course it asks you again how many to place, and we're just going to click enter to accept 4. Alright, you get this warning, just ignore it, just hit OK, then go back and check your work. It says that it places it outside of the host, which I don't know why it says that, because it always seems to place just fine to me. But here's the second rebar, here's the third rebar, okay, and then down here you'll see the fourth rebar. So make now we're going to shore up the corners of our stem walls a little bit. Alright, good morning ladies, gentlemen. I'm going to show you in this video, continuing on with the actually this is the same video, just continuing on, but anyway, I'm going to show you how to put some corner reinforcement into your stem wall. And let's kind of go up and look at the top for a moment. And right here we want to put a piece of rebar that'll extend, you know, probably through those isolated footings, you know, through that distance, to reinforce that corner and to help, you know, prevent any corner cracking or breaking or anything like that. So you should still have the layer that we need, and that is right here, this layer, or not layer, but reference plane, and that was the one I named corner reinforce. Let's go back up to level 1, and we will select, first we want to set the layer or the work plane that we're on by clicking on the set button, and mine's already set for corner reinforcement, so make sure that that work plane is set, and then click on rebar, and you're going to be looking for this corner piece. It's a 17A rebar shape. Alright, and the way this works is it kind of wants to extend to 1 or 2 corners all the way around, but we don't need it to do that, so we're just going to go ahead and click it in place, and we're going to hit the escape button, and we're going to select it, zoom out, and take the grip and pull that in. You just want to go a little bit past that isolated footing, and the same with this one. You want to click on this one and pull it this way, and probably about right in there. And the other one, for some reason that didn't work. Let me try it again. So grab the grip, there we go. Alright, and then after you do that, just kind of work on placing it right about in here. Okay, and now we're going to go to this section view. So if you don't have a section right here, go ahead and put a section there, and you're going to click on that. And actually I should have had my rebar selected already, that way actually I think I see it. Let's go up to the top, make sure we have the right one selected. So select it and then go into your section view, and now we're just going to use our arrow keys. We're going to bump it up. Okay, it needs to be, you know, kind of right there, and then we're going to copy it. Get you a reference point there and copy it up. Let's put it above rebar, and now hold your control button down so you can select both of them. Go to your level 1 view, and we're going to create an array. Okay, make sure that you select the radial array. total number of copies will be 4. And we're going to move it to the second location at an angle of 90 degrees between individual copies. And then we're going to click the place button to come to the center of our slab. So your first location is, right here at the start point. So we click there. We'll move over here to this next point and we click, and then we have all of our corner pieces are placed. Okay, and then it asks us again to select the number for copies or actually number of total instances. It already says 4, so I'm just going to click the enter button till it says 4, and I'm going to click OK. Alright, so I have all my corner rebar, corner reinforcement. Next thing I'm going to do is, let's see, are my isolated footings. And of course the isolated footings is something that would have been easier to do if I would have done that before I placed them all, is put the rebar in them. But you can do it at any phase. I'm going to take this section, I'm going to move it down to about right, it's close to the edge of that footing. Then I'm going to click. Alright, and I'm going to place my rebar. I'm going to structure rebar, and this one I'm looking for kind of a U shape like this one. I think 17 will work. Let's try it out and see. Yeah, it fits right in there, and of course it'll automatically, typically it'll automatically adjust and fit to the right size. And of course parallel to work plane is what I have set currently. That happens to be correct. Near cover reference is what I'll put. Maybe that won't work. Far cover reference, there we go. And should be a place to put the number that I want, or maybe I'll have to copy those. I'm going to go ahead and click it in place. Okay, so there's my rebar. I'm going to click on it. Maybe I needed to have that clicked before I did this. Click on 8 and then apply. Now maybe I can see something from the 3D view. There we go. Found it. Alright, so there is my rebar, my footing rebar. And that's one direction. I'm actually going to have it in 2 directions. And we'll have to kind of play with it a little bit to get the second direction in there without it kind of interfering with the ones that are already in there. So let's go back to this, actually let's go back to level 1. And we're going to put another section view. And we're going to cut this one right across here, kind of close to that edge. Okay, and you can see the rebar there. We're looking kind of at it straight on. Go to structure, rebar, same type of rebar, same settings. And let's change our view to fine, so we can, or medium actually, so we can kind of see what's going on. Okay, so that one is placed. Now here's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to go back to the other section and see if I can locate it. I believe that's it right there. And actually it would be easier to locate if I select it first. Use your tab button if you're having trouble selecting it. That way I'll know which one I'm looking at when I go back over here. Wrong one, section 1. There we go. Alright, so you can see, I see my rebar now. So I'm just going to slide it over because of course, it's not going to actually go through one another. Okay, and that should be good. And then I'm going to change this one to multiple or to fixed number. We'll do 8, apply, and now we have 8 of them in there. I have this one that's also, actually it went ahead and filled it out all the way out. Let's see if we can adjust that, because in reality they're gonna have to fit within one another. There we go, that's better. Okay, right in there. And as far as the bottom part, of course, that needs to come up too, but there's no arrow or anything that will allow me to do that. I can change the dimension. Let's see, 4 feet. That's not the dimension, probably this dimension. One of these two dimensions I'll want to change. Let's try this one. It's 1 foot 3 inches. Let's put it at just 1 foot. See what happens. Okay, it shortened them. Now let's see if we can move it up. There we go. See, those will actually kind of just lay right there on top of those. And of course, you know, I like to be kind of more or less realistic when I do this. You don't have to be. I want to put it at 2 inches. Apply. There we go. All right. So there is some footing rebar, and I'm going to take all this rebar and I'm going to copy all of it. Select all instances visible in view. Okay, and I think that just selected that. It did. Okay. So going back to our level 1, we're just going to copy that. Copy multiple. Get a good reference point right there in the center, and then just place it in the center of all your other footings. Can't find host for rebar. I'm not sure what that means exactly, but we will kind of go back and check on these individually and kind of see what our work looks like. So go ahead and continue placing those, and then when I come back you'll actually see where I have placed them, and we'll look at them in 3D view. Okay, so let's check this out in 3D view and just kind of make sure they're all in place, and those are. So we're good to go. Okay, now we also need to put some rebar in our interior footings, but those are on a different level. So I am going to place those separately. And of course you'll do that just like you did these other ones. There's no need for me to walk you through that, but make sure you go ahead and put your rebar in your interior footings as well. All right, finally I think we're coming to wrap this whole foundation thing up. So what I want to do next is put some rebar in the continuous portion of the footing, or the strap, I believe they call that. So let's go and find us some rebar to put in there, and I'm not sure how this is going to come out, and I'm going to just kind of start with a piece of rebar to see, okay, we're actually in the middle of our footing there. I don't want to be in the footing. Or was I? Yeah, it seems like I'm seeing through to the footing. Let's do it from, see, we can probably do it from level 1. All right. So I need to, these continuous portions of our footing, we need to put some rebar in. And typically, you know, you can just put straight rebar, or let's see, you could do something like this one right here, number 2. Kind of zoom into it, and as you notice, one thing I did to get this, to place this in there, is I selected that portion of the footing first before I actually went in to grab my rebar. So make sure you click on the portion of the footing And then click on your rebar and it'll know that that's where you want to put it. Okay, so I'm going to put one right here and one right here on both sides of the stem wall. And of course, I know right now things are starting to get a little confusing. Right about here. This rebar I don't want it to go through the isolated footing, so I'm going to click on that and I'm going to drag it down here. Alright, and I'm going to click on the other one, if I can locate it. There it is. And drag it down here right before that footing. Okay. And same with this side. Looks like it went all the way down to the bottom. So we'll grab that grip and just move it right on along till we get it into the above section. I think that is it. Yes. Okay, same with the one next to it. Get one all the way. Did it? No. Good. And bring it to right there. Alright, and now what we're going to do is we're going to select both of them, holding the control button down. And we're going to make copies. And let's see, we got to find an insertion point. Actually, probably best to go up to the corner. And insert those things right in here. Probably have to adjust them just a little bit. Okay. Alright, escape out of that, and then make any final adjustments that you need to. There, looks good. Down. Let's bump this one too. Or actually it might be good where it's at. Yeah, it is good. Alright, so now we've got all of that. Now let's see if we can select all of these. Select all instances in the entire project. Okay, it actually selected some other pieces as well, and I don't want that. Okay, so what we can do, select here, and you know, this is the tedious part, and I do apologize. Select that one. We're going to go down here, holding your control button down. Select all of those, and then we're going to put this on a radial array, and I want 4. Move second, angle will be 90, and we will place it, our center point, right in the center, just like we did last time. This is our start point over here, so we're going to click, and then we're going to move up here to the second position, click, and it already says 4 in the dynamic input box there. We're going to click enter. Rebar is completely outside of its host, I don't care. Click OK. Alright, now everything is done. We have rebar everywhere. It's a big rebar mess. Okay, let's go into 3D view. I probably should have done that before I copied everything, but it looks like everything made it to the right place. That is awesome. Okay. What is that? Okay, I do have some rebar that's kind of extending out of, I'm not sure where or how that got placed, but that's okay. We can just hopefully erase those without erasing the whole shebang. So cleaned up that rebar, and I think that was it. Okay, so we've got the rebar. Rebar is done. The foundation is done. The structure is pretty much done. Now we just need to go and put some walls on it. So I'm not going to continue this video with the walls. I will actually continue that on another video.